My God is glorious, and his gospel is glorious. Father, loving the Son in the Spirit, before the foundation of the world. Before there was anything, my glorious God was and is love. Out of his love I was created, not needed but wanted and loved. While I loved the dark, while I called evil good, and rejoiced in the darkness of sin, my glorious God came to be light to me. Still I chose to run from him. Born as a baby to run after me and meet with me where I am. Jesus, eternal Son of the Father, met with me where I am. He went to the cross and carried for me my shame and my guilt and my sin. Laid down his life and offered me mine. Born again, reconciled to God. Calls me brother, calls me friend. Father God sees me as righteous through him. He offers a place in his bosom, eternally loved and forgiven. He went to the cross and carried for me my shame and my guilt and my sin. Willingly he laid down his life and offered me mine. Born again, reconciled to God for all time. He calls me brother, calls me friend. Father God sees me as righteous through him. He offers me a place in the Father's bosom, eternally loved and forgiven. Eternally loved and forgiven. My God is glorious, and his gospel is glorious. The gospel, the good news, is Christ in me. He's my Lord, and he'll never leave. Look at Jesus, how beautiful is he. So glorious, so powerful, so lovely. His life in each breath I give out and take in. My God delights in me, and I delight in him. Forever I'll sing praises of my glorious God. My God is glorious, and his gospel is glorious.
Hallelujah. Let Lord Jesus Christ shine forth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. Welcome to a live stream with DCCI Ministries. They talk about how England messed up and how England just hates Christ and followers of Christ. And I have Tim from Christian Concern with me. Peace of Christ be with you, Tim. How are you?
And with you. Thank you, Hasan. Yes, I'm well.
I'm just going to do...
Great to be with you. Thank you for getting him on your show. Appreciate it. Love your ministry.
I am most lovable person with the most lovable ministry in the world. I'm just going to do a quick sound check. Can you just speak a little bit?
Yes, sure. Yeah, speaking now. Yeah, Jesus
Okay.
Lord.
Yeah, thank you. So, Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Hasan. Yeah, doing well. Busy as ever. Lots going on, but yeah, it's an exciting time to live.
So you are working with an organization called Christian Concern.
Yes.
What does Christian Concern do, and what is your involvement with them? So that if you kind of give us some background of that, I will expand on it, why I kind of invited you to come to my live stream.
Great. Well, Christian Concern really campaigns for Christian truth in our culture. We try and get the Christian messages out on the issues of the day through law, through media, through politics, and in the church. We're trying to equip people to tackle the issues of the day. And we speak on various issues, but Islam is one of our issues. And I lead on speaking about Islam for our organization. I'm the head of public policy, so I do look at lots of other things as well. But Islam is kind of my key focus and one of my favorite topics to talk about and think about. Been very privileged to help lots of street preachers who've been arrested over the years, including yourself, Hassan. Very, very privileged to help you and aid you, and I know our legal team have helped you, and delighted to have got you twice £10,000 compensation from the Met Police for wrongful arrest, which is fantastic. And but no actual change of policy there, I'm afraid. And we did have apology the first time, I think, and the second time no apology either, I noticed. So I'm sure we can talk more about that. But it's been great to help you and aid your ministry a little bit. And that's really what we do. We're sort of there, to help ministries that run into trouble or individuals that run into trouble because of expressing their Christian faith, whether it's on the streets or in the workplace. And indeed, we have many, many cases of Christians who've been disciplined or lost their jobs, actually, for expressing their Christian faith as well. And we help them. Very often it's just advice that happens kind of below the radar, so to speak. But some of them are very high-profile cases. Indeed, you're a very high-profile case. We've also had several others, Felix Nagole, Christy Higgs, and other people that have become sort of not quite household names, but well known in the area of sort of religious freedom in the UK. So yeah, that's kind of what we do.
So as I'm hearing, kind of, you're just telling me you are helping out Christians to I don't know, not end up in jail or have a freedom of preach the gospel. And all I am thinking is, you live in England, we live in England, yet I'm get used to hear those things in Muslim majority countries, in Middle East, in North Africa, even in Asia. What went wrong? Why do we even have Christian Concern at the first place in England?
It's a really good point, Hassan, and I think you made it very well in a sort of one of your statements about your arrest. This is not Pakistan, this is not Saudi Arabia. I should be allowed to say that I'm not a Muslim anymore and I don't believe in Muhammad and not be arrested for it. Absolutely right, you should. And in days gone by, you would have been able to do that without any problem or any threat whatsoever. And Christians would have been totally able to say all of the things they believe, and particularly. But the two things that you get in trouble for really in our culture now are criticizing Islam and criticizing LGBT ideology. If you express disagreement with those things, there are aspects of our population who believe that should be illegal, even that it is illegal. And to offend people at these points of like, you've criticized their religion, Muhammad, gosh, that's terrible. Or you've criticized their identity, you've called them a man when they're really, well, they want to be a woman. That's terrible as well. These are kind of becoming quasi-blasphemous things in our culture to say, and people do lose their jobs. I mean, we had a woman who worked for a housing association company and put in election literature, she believes marriage between a man and a woman. They sacked her for that. Now, they ended up paying compensation to her because that's wrong. You can't do that, right? But the fact is that they thought that was right. Oh, if you say that marriage between a man and a woman, you're unemployable. Like, it's beyond the pale. It's terrible to say that, And then you have it's really street preachers who end up saying something about Islam or about Muhammad, like yourself, and the police get involved. Somebody complains. They said something about Muhammad, whatever, and police come and arrest you, and take you away, and you've been held overnight and strip searched and all this stuff, Hassan, haven't you? And furthermore, you've been assaulted and beaten and knocked down and had things stolen from you, and the police don't do anything about that. But because you are, supposedly insulting Muhammad or Muslims, the police arrest you. So we do have a real problem with this. Now, the fact is, Hassan, that the law is still on our side.
Yeah, but the problem is, okay, yes, it is against law for police to stop me from my preaching and put me in jail, or it is against law for police to stop anyone, even like praying in their head, to put them in jail, even remove them from their location. Once that has been done, even it is wrong, once that has been done, it opens all the platform to anyone who might have any hurtful feelings regarding what you said. That once they see police is able to do their way, then everything is done. So there is no way for you to hold your ground again. It's just like, yes, I have law on my side. But
it is, as I've written, Hassan, it is effectively enforcing Sharia law in your case. I mean, it is, you are there, saying Muhammad is not a prophet, and the police come and arrest you, and that is not an offence. It's nowhere near being a criminal offence. Absolutely nowhere near being a criminal offence whatsoever. You've not threatened anyone. You've not, nothing you've done is anything close to being a criminal offence, and yet the police come and arrest you because the Muslims are complaining, because the Muslims are threatening, because the Muslims whatever, and that is basically effectively Sharia law in Speaker's Corner that is being enforced, and the Muslims love it. They all cheer Allahu Akbar and mock you and all this kind of stuff when it happens. And it's the other thing that it is doing is basically facilitating mob rule. The mob says arrest her. She said something we don't like. Police say, yeah, okay, we'll come and arrest her, and they do it.
Yeah, in my case,
that's not what they should do. So they should protect you from the mob, or disperse the mob, or arrest the people in the mob. That's what they should do if they were actually policing according to the law, right? But they're not. They're adopting a quasi-Sharia law practice in what they do.
In my case, I guess I've been privileged. I had Christian concern who kind of helped me with the law, all that, and then I got out like just overnight. Still, like, my freedom is being taken away. My stolen properties are still with Muslims, and those people are still at Speaker's Corner, all that. But I know cases where people are still hiding. Simply mob was able to rule. For example, in the case of school teacher, he's still hiding. Yeah, he's still hiding.
Yeah.
All of his life is being destroyed. Why? Because police was willing to be obedient to Muslims, as well as we allowed blasphemy laws to practice in England. The freedoms which Muslims do not give Christians in Muslim majority countries simply were handed over to the Muslims in this country on the plate. And it is absolutely wrong, and it is very much concerning. And I'm going to put a clip on the screen for you, for us to watch it, because this is the clip. Like, when I saw it, I'm just like, yep, this is just getting out of control. Yes, I know kind of Britain turned to be Islamic Republic of Britain, but like, this is just out of control. Let me put that on in case people didn't get to see it. They can listen as well.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that if it's going to cause distress, and it depends what context you use, why you would do that to someone.
So you're the police telling me that saying God bless you can cause someone distress?
Okay, but if you were to say that to someone who, for example, is a Muslim, and if you're going into their face and then saying that to them, knowing that they have their own beliefs, then yes, that is.
And you work for the police?
Yeah, of course.
So the police are saying that it's a crime to say God bless you to someone?
Sure, you wouldn't get arrested if it wasn't causing distress to other people.
So you're saying, for legal purposes, that it's a crime?
If it's causing distress, then yeah.
What's your name, please?
Nadina.
Nadina what?
We don't give our surnames, but I've got my shoulder number.
Can we have your shoulder number, please?
Of course. 71224.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And just to let you know, this we also do school fees as well.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, so if I say God bless you, and Muslim kind of might find that Muslim, remember, like that's what the officer says, Muslim might
Yes,
find
well, that is the very striking thing about that, Hassan. They don't say a Jew or a Hindu or a Sikh or anything else. They say a Muslim, right? And it's very interesting because all that he's saying, all that they're saying they can say is God bless you.
Yeah.
And saying a Muslim get offended by that, because they have different beliefs, very interesting because they're recognizing it's a different God there. That's an interesting point that just sort of struck me as we watch it then, isn't it? Me saying God bless you is not the same as Allah bless you. But also, it's crazy. It's absolutely wrong. It's not an offense. Could not be an offense. Should never be an offense to say God bless you. If saying God bless you can be a criminal offense, then anything you say could be a criminal offense.
I'm sure if
Anything you say,
sneeze,
have a good day, right? I mean, honestly, goodbye, nice to see you. Anything, because they might disagree with you, because they might be offended. It's basically completely totalitarian. You're turning it into like, anything you say, unless you got permission from the police, they can come arrest you. I mean, if somebody complains, it's and particularly if it's a Muslim who complains, because they seem to be scared of the Muslims or want to pander to the Muslims or whatever it is. So they know that no Jew would complain, and no Sikh or no Hindu, no Buddhist, no Christian would complain if you said God bless you. I don't believe most Muslims would complain either. I mean, they would, but the police have got it into their head. Oh, what if some Muslim is upset because a Christian says God bless you? In that case, we could arrest you. No, they couldn't, and they would be breaking the law if they did. And if a police officer did that, anybody here, anybody listening, watching, gets arrested by a police officer saying God bless you, call Christian Concern immediately, and we will come and help you. That is nowhere near being a criminal offense.
I'll make sure I put the link to your website and your Twitter account on description so people can get in touch with you. I guess my concern is in this video, lots of people, like I learned to trust the police.
Yes.
I remember police would turn up to my place. We would offer them coffee and tea and cookies because intention was they are coming to uphold my rights.
Yep.
And they are in the place of authority. Once they say, okay, that is criminal offense.
Yep.
Then you kind of say, okay, that's criminal offense. Last thing I need is, I don't want to be criminal. I don't want to end up in jail. And in
of course, and Christians should in all those circumstances, you should obey the law. I mean, and Jesus said you should do that, and Romans 13 is very clear about that. You should obey the law. And that's right, but there are limits to that, and the classic limit is, where if the law prohibits what the Bible commands or commands what the Bible prohibits, and the Bible commands us to preach about Jesus as Lord, and when the apostles were prohibited from talking about Jesus, they refused to obey. They said, well, we have to obey God on this one. So the law, if the law tells you to do something that is sinful, or stops you from doing something the Bible says you must do, then you should disobey the law. And or if police officers who represent the law, the law doesn't actually say you can't do this, but they represent the law and they say you can't preach about Jesus. Well, actually you're within your rights to carry on preaching about Jesus in that circumstance, and Christian Concern will help you if you get in trouble for that.
The point I wanted to make is lots of people don't know that. Like when you listen to police, you kind of think, okay, they are telling me what the law is.
Yeah. Okay,
from now on, it is crime, then I cannot say, or from now on, I will be treated as a criminal, therefore I need to stop. So it just how I am looking from the perspective of how police is abusing the power and the rights they are given. Like we are the ones who pay their salary. My money goes to pay their salary, and their job is, doesn't matter what is my religion, what is my bank account, doesn't matter what is my gender, they must uphold the law equally between you and me, between me and Muslims, doesn't matter. But such a
They should, but they don't.
Yeah, such a conversation simply shows actually they don't uphold the law equally for everyone. It is very much disturbing. Very much disturbing.
It is very disturbing. And let's remember as well that the idea of one law for everyone actually comes from the Bible. You know, it's in Exodus chapter 12, verse 49, I think, where it says the same law applies both to the native born and to the foreigner residing within you. And then in Deuteronomy 17, you've got kings as well as ordinary people should abide by the same law. And it's because our laws are founded on biblical principles, and Magna Carta was saying this kind of thing as well, that we all agree as a society that everyone should have the law and obey the law equally, and that police swear, or used to swear, to, you know, enforce the law without fear or favor. But yeah, we're moving away. As we abandon our Christian heritage, which provided that moral foundation for us, then we're moving away from that, you know, some of those beliefs. And I think that's what's partly allowing some of this crazy stuff of differential policing and differential ways of applying the law. And so, you know, the police, there is a two-tier approach, and the police, you know, are afraid or don't want to offend the Muslims, and, you know, have got it into their heads that it's easier to arrest people, and even have got into their heads that it is a crime when it is not a crime, to insult Muhammad, or, you know, or express your disagreement with Muhammad's teaching, or whatever it might be. And so, you know, we have a problem here that the police are not enforcing law equally as they should, and they have false beliefs about what the law says. And so, like you say, you'd like to trust them. You would have thought you ought to be able to trust them, that the police ought to know the law better than you and better than most people. They ought to know it, more importantly, accurately and correctly, but they don't. And they tell you something's a crime when it isn't. And like they told this guy, saying God bless you could be an offense. No, it cannot be offense. It is not an offense. So yes, this is where we are in our society today.
Someone is saying, I live in Scotland. I preach out about many things, street preaching and online. I could be looking at a long time in jail.
Well, you shouldn't be, you know, because I mean, the fact is that, you know, police might come and arrest you. I mean, that is the fact, you know, and what we encourage all street preachers to do is to have video cameras, either someone else or, you know, wear one of these video cameras so that you can record. And when somebody accuses you of threatening them or saying something threatening or breaching the law, if you've got video footage, you can prove you didn't threaten them or whatever, you didn't say something that you know, actually would be against the law, we can get you cleared of any offense in that, because it's not against the law. This is what I was trying to say. The law actually does protect you. We have a 100% track record, or very close to 100% track record, of getting street preachers cleared of any offence, or not even charged, released without charge. And I think we've got something like 60 cases that we've now helped now, like that. And that's because the law does stand on our side. The law does protect freedom of speech and preaching the gospel and expressing disagreement in quite strong terms with religions, and calling somebody according to their biological gender, and all this kind of thing is protected. We've had street preach cases like that. So you can do it. And I can't say you won't be arrested, but I can say you shouldn't be convicted.
Okay, even though if you are taken to the police station or to put in jail, you will be out. And while, of course, you are in jail, they give you right to make phone calls. Just ask them to get in touch with Christian Concern, and then Christian Concern will help you to get out of jail as soon as they can. As Tim said, law is for us, yet the people who are practicing law are against us, because they are simply being or obedient to certain communities whose feelings are very much important.
That's right. Yeah.
So street preachers are being arrested. Simply, someone is just getting offended stuff. I remember a couple of years ago, I got arrested just before Christmas. I was so annoyed with that one. They kept me in police station for a couple of hours, and I got arrested simply saying God came into the world. And then after a couple of hours, they just like, okay, you can go now. They took my freedom, all that kind of thing. So in the moment when you are arrested, what does law tells us? What is the, like, is there a way that I can kind of say, what is the things I should be doing that I don't even end up in the police station at first place? Because at the end, your freedom, even like 5 minutes, is being taken away from you. And the scene police makes when they arrest you gives the impression to the people who are kind of in the audience, yes, they can get away with everything, and it becomes very difficult to be in the same place and preach again without police coming and stop you, or without Muslims to having more power. So what are the things we can do at such a situation?
I think you can, you can't actually stop the police from arresting you. Do not resist arrest, because you'll get into more trouble if you do that. So if they start arresting you, don't resist it, go with it, and then they can't charge you with resisting arrest or something like that. You can try and persuade them. You can say, look, I know this is not against the law. Look, there is Section 29J of the Public Order Act that says you can insult, ridicule, and mock people's beliefs, and that's clearly not an offence. You can try and say, the European human rights, you have freedom of speech and religion, and you can say these things, and you can try and say, this is not an offence. I've not committed an offence. I've got a video camera here showing there's no offence here. If you arrest me, I will complain about it. But at the end of the day, if they decide to arrest you, you can't stop them arresting you. And I recommend not resisting it. And then, yes, who are you going to call, so to speak?
Yeah. What are my rights? Let's say if I get arrested, they ask, do you want to make a call to the lawyer? And let's say I said I want to call Christian Concern or lawyer from this law office, and they come back to me an hour later, and then they say to me, actually, you need to provide the phone number for them, even though lawyer's number is supposed to be in their kind of list. And for that, they want you to give your phone password to them, for them to get access to your phone and find the name. That's something I'm so uncomfortable with. What is my rights in such situations? Like, I don't even give my phone password to, I don't know, like my closest friend. Actually, my accountability partner has my password for the phone number, but my phone. But police is not someone I feel comfortable to hand over my phone.
No, totally understandable, and I'd avoid that if I was you. I mean, I would. The Christian Concerns phone number can be found on our website. You could tell them, go find the Christian number on their website, and it's there, and they can find it. They don't need your phone to find it. That's what I suggest. If you go to just the contact section on our website, there's a phone number right there. There's even an out-of-hours emergency number to call as well. So it's just tell them, go to Christian Concern, the contact page. There it is, or memorize it, or something like that. But I sympathise with not wanting to give the police your password to your phone.
Okay, so would you encourage people to kind of answer all the questions they are asking you at the police station?
I think that's
Sometimes in interviews,
that's on your conscience and on how you feel about it at that time, and on what the officer is like, and all of these kind of things. I think possibly if you just answer the questions, they might just release you. So. But on the other hand, if you feel that, if you're sensing that that's answering questions is going to help you, then say, well, I want to wait till I have a lawyer or something like that, and just no comment all the time. So I think you need some discernment on that. You need to, just follow your own conscience and how the Holy Spirit you think is leading you at that time.
So would you kind of think that in certain occasions police is trying to set public examples by arresting people and causing fear in the on street preachers or on Christians and manipulating them? Would you kind of think that is happening also?
I think the motive normally is that they're scared of the mob of Muslims creating more trouble or committing more offences or going violent, and the easy way out is to arrest the street preacher rather than to disperse the mob or arrest people in the mob or something like that. I think it's more that.
Why they are afraid of Muslim mob? Like police is the one who has the authority and the power. Why they are afraid of the mob?
I know. They should operate without fear or favor, right? That's what they should do. Okay, but the fact is they are afraid. I think that's how I am. That's what I think is happening. They are afraid. They are operating with fear of Muslims and what they will do, and because they're afraid, they actually take the wrong action and do the wrong thing. And I think that's what it is.
So are they afraid?
What do you think? What do you think, Hassan?
Are they afraid that they are going to get harmed, or they are afraid that the person they are trying to arrest is going to get harmed? So what I like doesn't make sense.
I think it could be both of those. I think they are sometimes afraid the person who's preaching is going to be harmed. I think they're sometimes afraid that more violence could happen. Things are being thrown. Some one of their own people get harmed. I also think that some police officers do have the mentality that offending people, Muslims, in certain ways is an offence, and it just isn't. So I think they actually believe that they're doing the right thing, some of these officers, and they're not.
So my thoughts on that is I don't think they are afraid. I don't think they are afraid that they are going to get harmed, because I have seen the treatments how in certain occasions police dealt with certain groups. It didn't look like they were afraid for themselves because they knew they have the power to deal with the people.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about like riot police? What are you talking about?
For example, riot police, or in certain occasions, I have seen when police turned to the Muslim mob and then said, "Don't like it, walk away," and then police made those people walk away.
Right.
So I know they have the power to stop that. I'm not sure if I will fall into idea of, or they are concerned for the safety of preacher or safety of that individual. In that case, if they concern for myself, my safety, all they would be doing is driving me out of Speaker's Corner or out of the street and then drop me off at police station or at my house where I am, and then everything is settled. But it doesn't look like that is the case. I am more in they want to honor and please the Muslim crowd, because so that's where I stand. I don't see that as, okay, it's in any form, it is protection. And it is not even protection of the rights of the mobs either. It is simply pleasing them. That's how I am looking at it.
Well, Hassan, you are the one who's experienced this and experienced the emotion involved and the tension involved and the hatred involved and what's being expressed, and you are the best person to describe what you think the motives are, and I respect that very much. But that's shocking if that's right. That they actually want to pander to the mob and facilitate mob rule, and give the mob what it wants and make an example, which all that does is encourages more mob, encourages more mob violence, encourages more mob threats, encourages more mobs demanding more things, because you've pandered to them once, they're going to say, oh, let's see what they can get to do next. It's honestly, it then basically becomes lawlessness, if that's really what it is. Because you're just, it becomes, the might is right, basically. Whoever's got the biggest mob wins. You know, that's not what it should be at all. So I hope you're wrong, but I totally respect you. You may be right.
I love to be wrong, but I don't buy because I have seen how, for example, like, I don't know if you have seen one of the, I've got lots of stuff happen which is like behind cameras didn't record stuff, but in one of the thing at Speaker's Corner, for example, where a Muslim missionary coming to Speaker's Corner from marching against Jews. So he comes to Speaker's Corner with all of his gangs. And he's regular at Speaker's Corner. Police turns to him and then says, okay, shush. And then he simply tells the police, I'm not leaving, I'm not obeying you. There is nothing like police simply can remove him from Speaker's Corner. Police has that right. But I am also very much aware that certain recordings which Muslims of Speaker's Corner, because at Speaker's Corner you've got Muslim police officers too, they're approaching Muslim police officer and then asking what they can do to get rid of certain person of Speaker's Corner. Police is simply telling them, okay, this is the case. And I remember turning this police and then begging for help. It was Muslim police officer calls me 2 o'clock in the morning. Hi, I am officer. I am PC Mohammed. I'm calling you to inform you this. Muslim police officer is calling me to tell me my life is in danger. Muslim police officer turning my house at 5 o'clock and then telling me my life is in danger. Goodbye. That's all I needed to do. Sign this paper so I live. So what I kind of observed doesn't look like to me in any form or any shape that they concern for their safety.
Well, no, that is intimidation. There's no reason to do that at 2 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning at all, and there's no reason why it has to be a Muslim officer as well. That's clearly intimidation. That's designed to frighten you.
Yeah, like, so that kind of makes me to think actually they don't really care about my safety or any speaker's safety. They are just like, okay, we've got the, I know this is going to come out very wrong and probably I will be in trouble for saying that, but their most important commitment to Islam, even though they wear that uniform. And when we've got Muslim police officers who are publicly, for example, like these days, we notice they are supporting Hamas terrorist organizations. Police officers are simply calling their colleagues as kafir, dirty individuals, all that. So when they are in the place of power, it seems their first commitment to Islam instead of the country they live in. Then I'm kind of observing all those things. I don't think police is obeying Muslims simply because they're concerned for their well-being or simply they're concerned for the well-being of the others. They simply want to honor and please these Muslims. That's what I'm seeing. And
well, your experience there is that's
dangerous.
definitely the case. I agree with you. Those Muslims calling you up or knocking on your door at 5 o'clock in the morning, that is not out of concern for you. That is actually intimidating you deliberately, partly because of the time they're doing it, and the way they're doing it, and who's doing it. Yeah.
Have you come across with the case of this Irish teacher?
A little bit, yes.
What is happening there? Why a teacher is in jail?
To be honest, I haven't followed it closely enough, Hassan. We focus on the British Isles and England, Wales, and Scotland and stuff. I haven't followed it closely. It's not our case at Christian Concern that we're involved in. It does seem very, very shocking and disturbing. That he's been put in prison and all of that kind of thing, just for what he's said. But I'm not very close to it, that particular case.
There's a question of how can you have a society where Muslims are exempt from the justice due to the fear of a mob showing up at your door?
Absolutely, yeah. I agree. I mean, then it's not a just society. It's not a right. It's not a fair society. It's not not how the law should be. Absolutely not. So I agree. The police should not operate in fear. Should not be afraid. Even worse, should not be trying to pander to the mob and facilitate the mob, as you've discussed. So yes, this is not the way it should be, and it's very concerning.
Okay, so we talked about how a law is for me when it comes to practicing my freedom to preach glorious gospel of Lord Jesus Christ, as well as critique the ideology of Islam. So law is for me, but the people who are practicing the law is against me, as well as Muslim mob is against me.
Enforcing the law, yes, yeah.
What about where does law at these days? It seems changing quite a lot. When it comes to praying publicly in abortion zones, for example. Or
yes, well, I mean this is a real problem, because we've had these public whatever they're called, PSPOs, around abortion zones, and now the government have made it a law across abortion zones across the country. Within 70 yards of an abortion zone, you cannot do anything that can be construed as anti-abortion. You can't complain about abortion. Even taking your friend to an abortion clinic and asking them, "Are you sure?" Could be an offence. And praying is, or could be, an offence. And we've had people who've been arrested for silent praying in their head, which they've admitted. Police officer asks them, "Are you praying?" "Well, I'm praying in my head." "What are you praying about?" "Well, I'm praying about my dead son, or all the death that happens over there." And they get arrested for that and charged and so on. Now, there's no way that should be an offence. It really shouldn't be an offence, and cannot be an offence to pray in your head. There's then concerns as well, because in Scotland, they sent around notices to people who live in these areas, like your house is in one of these areas, and said that praying in your house could be an offence. I mean, imagine that. Praying in your house could be an offence. And they've actually put that in black and white.
Sorry,
these letters to people who live in these areas.
Okay, sorry, Tim, sorry. Can you please unpack that a little bit for me? How it turned up that praying on my house can
if your house is in one of these zones, within a few hundred yards of an abortion clinic, right, and you live in Scotland, you'll have had a letter from the Scottish government, I think it is, or the police, which explains that you now live in an abortion zone, and you say anything in this zone, or display anything in this zone that criticizes abortion, you could be committing an offence. And the letter actually said prayer inside your house could be an offence too.
Okay, so I am not in their property. I'm not doing preaching in someone else's property. I am not praying in someone else's property. I am praying in public place or in my property. That can be crime.
Yeah.
Did I get that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, which country did you say that is the case?
Scotland.
Okay. In the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Okay. I've been to Saudi Arabia. I prayed in people's houses in Saudi Arabia. I've been to Pakistan. I prayed just opposite to the mosque in Pakistan. That wasn't crime. But in Scotland, in Great Britain, praying in your property can put you in jail. I just wanted to make sure I understand that correctly.
That is what the letter said. If somebody, the point is, they're saying if somebody sees you or hears you and you're praying about abortion, then that's an offence. Or somebody complains, "I saw them praying about abortion," or something like that. I heard them praying about abortion. Then that could be an offence. That's what the letter said. So yes, it's absolutely ridiculous. Hassan, we're living in crazy times at the moment, really crazy times.
No.
It's extraordinary that this is the case in certain places, in certain streets of Britain. If you pray about abortion, the police will arrest you. and charge you, and you could be convicted for that.
Yeah, but we don't live in crazy times. We just live in where crazy people are just abusing the power which is handed to them.
Yeah.
So when, let's say, these zones, let's say
Yeah.
there is a building for murdering kids,
Yeah.
and women can go there to murder their kids. When they build their building, or when they open that institution, did
Yeah.
they send letter to every neighborhood, let's say, who lives in 300, 500 yards from that building, to ask permission if they can set up that property there or that organization there?
I mean, you know, Hudson, there will have been planning
She's
permission
not.
somewhere down the line, but yeah, this is way before these buffer zones came into place. So there would be no warning that, you know, that as part of the planning permission, by the way, you won't be allowed to talk about abortion anywhere near these things or pray about it anywhere near these buildings and so on. So yes, no, this is all just very recently come into force, and it's very shocking, it's very disturbing, and yes, you know, in that case, Hatan, as yeah, we've been discussing the law is on your side. In this case, the law is not on your side. The law is against you. If you go there, you know, we helped a chap who he was just displaying a sign saying, you know, I think it was from Psalm 139, you know, God formed you in the womb or something like that, and he's been arrested and charged, and fined, and we, you know, we're going to appeal that.
Is that the one gentleman is being fined for £9,000?
Yeah, Stephen Green. I can't remember the amount, but
yeah.
Stephen Green it is. The law is not on your side. And, you know, we're trying to argue it. We're trying to break it down. We're trying to argue that this is a breach of human rights and all these kind of things. Hopefully, we'll win. I mean, you know, hopefully, pray, you know, and you know, bless our lawyers. Hopefully, we'll win because you know it is a massive breach of human rights to say you can't display a style like this in this place. You know, and we'll take it. We'll pursue it. And we'll see how far we get with it. But as it stands, yeah, the law is against you on this, and the police will be right in this case to arrest you for talking about abortion near an abortion zone, near an abortion clinic.
Okay, so if I have a banner contains Psalm 139,
yeah,
closed abortion center,
yeah.
I can be charged and I can be punished by paying fee.
Yeah, you'll be. Yeah, no, you can. Yes, it has happened. You can be convicted for that. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we are going to appeal it. We're going to fight it. We're going to try and overturn this, Hatan. You know, and we'll see where we get. You know, we're going to keep fighting it as far as possible. But this is a new law. It's a new thing. It's still somewhat untested. It's still, you know, progressing its way through the courts to see where it gets to, and you know, we'll see where it goes. But this is what politicians decided, that the House of Commons voted for under the Conservative government. You know, voted for imposing these zones around clinics, and we argued about it. We said this is crazy. We shouldn't do it, but they did vote for it, and so it now is the law.
I guess my problem is I am very much aware that people find Christ very offensive. I'm very much aware that people hate Christ and hate his word. But having banner in England contains the word of God and expresses your thoughts on it in England, you shouldn't be charged for it.
No, you shouldn't be.
You are not just like, even ending this situation is like bad by itself.
Yes.
And kind of in Europe, you are fighting to simply not murder.
What you sort of done here is you've created another blasphemy law. Really, it's blasphemy in these places to criticize abortion. You know, and that's what they've effectively done. It's not in every street in the country. It's not in every place in the country, but around these abortion clinics, there is a blasphemy law in place that says you can't criticize abortion, you can't critique it, you can't, you know, even pray, you know, or say or display. You just can't do it, and they'll come down if you do. And it is effectively a blasphemy code that they have now implemented around these abortion clinics.
I just would like to challenge something you said.
Mhm.
So you are kind of comparing this with the blasphemy laws.
Yeah.
Why do we have blasphemy laws in England? Where did they come from? Why they are being practiced? Do we have like a book tells you what is the laws?
We don't have blasphemy laws, right? As blasphemy laws, we don't, right? They were abolished some years back. I think it might have been the 1990s or 80s. 1990s. I think we got rid of the blasphemy laws. Originally, they were Christian blasphemy laws because people viewed Christianity as basically the basis of our law, and therefore you criticised in very insulting manner Christianity, you could get arrested and charged for that. But that was abolished, and so there is not blasphemy laws. What I'm saying is that this is effectively a blasphemy law, that we've made abortion sort of kind of an idol that you can't criticize. And in Speaker's Corner, it seems like we've made Muhammad like an idol you can't criticize, and they'll arrest you for criticizing him in certain ways. And so we are effectively enforcing a blasphemy law in those two kind of ways around the country, even though that's not what the law says. Though in a sense it does say it around abortion clinics in these for these buffer zones.
Okay, in the context of freedom of speech for Islam. So how did we kind of end up where it first started, that now commenting on Muhammad or simply reading Islamic sources about Muhammad is becoming crime? So where did that come first?
It's not a crime. It's not a crime.
No, but well, if I hear you are saying it's not a crime, but if I am being arrested, if my freedom is being blocked, so
Yes.
someone is forcing that to be crime. So why we are in that situation? Like, where did this come from?
Again, Hassan, I think it's just part of the increasing Islamization of our nation as a whole, which is happening in a number of ways. It's happening through immigration. It's happening through increased population of Muslims. As you know, the last census says it was 6.5% of the population is Muslim. 10 years ago, it was only 3% or something. So the population has doubled over 10 years. And the political activism is very strong, and they want a blasphemy code, and they want to enforce it, and they have effective lobbying. We had, for the first time in Parliament, 5 independent Muslim MPs get elected, and 50 MPs that Muslim votes said they supported their demands in terms of Islamic political demands, things like enforcing an Islamophobia law, which would be an effective blasphemy code, and things were in those demands, as well as stuff around Palestine and things. And so there has been, massively increased influence of Islam across the country, and part of that has affected our policing and our legal system. We've had terrorist attacks as well. Fortunately, we've had, not so many successful attacks in the last several years. Quite a lot of unsuccessful attacks, though. I think it's in the dozens of unsuccessful attacks that our police and security forces have successfully foiled. Imagine if they had been successful. But those threats are kind of there behind the scenes, and this gradual Islamization, to use that word, of our society is taking effect, and people and the Muslims complain, you can't insult Muhammad, that's terrible, and the police think, oh yeah, that is terrible, maybe we shouldn't let that happen. Hassan, it should never have happened this way, and it shouldn't, and I pray that it won't carry on down this line. But at the moment, all I see is Britain becoming ever more Islamic year by year, as increasing demands, and the election just was the latest thing that sort of showed how Islam is affecting our democracy. And and Labour Party is very keen to pander to the Muslims because they know it swings the votes and so on, and it's 10% of the vote in multiple seats across the country, and that's enough to swing a seat and so on. So you have this increasing influence of Islam culturally, generally across the culture, but also politically, and it is affecting our society.
So number of Muslims are growing in England, and they are forcing their laws in their country, and some of the people actually don't even have those laws in their country. They are forcing certain they're making government to, or people who are in the power to obey their feelings and then make sure they are all happy. They don't even care if someone's very basic human right is being destroyed because their feelings are being hurt. And did I hear that correctly? You said just over 6% of Britain right now are Muslim,
Yep.
and they are able to do that with only 6%. I don't
Well,
want
I mean, Hudson, listen, 6% is quite a lot, right? If you think about the LGBT lobby, which is a whole nother movement, right? That's like 1 or 2% of the population max.
Yeah.
Right. And they got the law changed so that they redefine marriage, right? With 1 or 2% of the population, right? So what a small minority could do is massive, right? It's massive in terms of the influence you have on culture. If you're active about it, if you're vocal, if you're confident, if you're courageous, if you speak out, you can make a difference. If Christians, right? Christians, what do we have? Church-going Christians who go regularly to the church, maybe 5% of the population, something like that. That is enough if we're vocal and confident and courageous to change the culture. But the Muslims put us to shame because they are confident, bold, out there, evangelizing, doing their dawah, and proclaiming that they want Muslim this, Muslim that, and want more halal food, more halal this, Sharia finance, Sharia this, Sharia that, and they're getting their way because they are confident and pushing and aggressive, politically aggressive, in the way they do this, and it makes a difference. And the LGBT lobby did the same thing, and were very successful.
It was only a handful of individuals were able to murder over 3,000 people in 9/11. It
Yes.
was handful leadership was able and is able to still commit genocide in Middle East, Hamas leaders, and 6% is when you look
more than a handful in that case.
Well, the leaders of Hamas was just
the point is, it doesn't take very many people to cause carnage and cause chaos and cause great destruction and commit a massive act. You don't. We saw the riots, didn't we, in August, right? And most people are not involved in riots, but the numbers of people who do get involved might be dozens, hundreds, and they cause a massive amount of damage, and you don't need very many people to cause huge chaos in a country.
Well, you only need 2 individuals to start the mob anyway at Speaker's Corner, or even certain occasions 1 mob, and they can get away with their things. I am very much.
And Jesus caused the revolution single-handedly with 12 friends, right?
He turned the world upside down.
Turned the world upside down. So it's amazing what can be done with small numbers. So you're saying, how did 6.5% do this? Well, 6.5% is a lot, actually. I mean, that's a lot to work with.
Yeah, the point I wanted to make is, if this is happening with just over 6%, imagine the danger when they become over 10%.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Totally.
Very, very concerning. Plus, of course, they've got alongside of them all the woke, all the fatties for Palestine, all that as well. I am very much aware that you speak about those issues, and then also you express your concerns on Islam, and you also recently had a debate on I don't know what is the title of debate.
So earlier this year, Hassan, I debated this chap in America called Reza Aslan. He's a professor in America. He's written some books that had got on the New York Times bestseller list. He's a moderate Muslim. And the debate topic was, is Islam anti-Semitic? And so I did this debate with him. It was hosted by a group called Open to Debate. There is a YouTube link, which you've managed to find there. But I noticed just recently when I was thinking about this, that they've made it unlisted. So you can't go and find it. I hope you can put it in the comments or somewhere, Hassan, so people can watch it. It's an hour-long debate that I did. It was fairly moderated, and I've had very good feedback from it, because the fact is you've got so many texts to work from to show that Islam is anti-Semitic, and I just kept quoting text after text after text, and historian after historian after historian, theologian after theologian to demonstrate this. And I've written up the debate recently as well on our website. And I can just post the link for you there on that as well. But shockingly, Hassan, I've noticed that they changed the title of the debate on their website to "Is Islam Misunderstood?" And I've complained about it. I've been complaining about it for for a few days now and had no response whatsoever. I don't know if you can show that on your website. Can you show it? It's coming up now. There, look. So it says, "Is Islam misunderstood?" Can you make it clearer on there? That's it. That is not what the title of the debate was. That is not what I debated. And they put there, answering yes, Tim Dieppe. No, I don't say Islam is misunderstood. I never said that. I never agreed to debate that. I wouldn't say Islam is misunderstood. So they are misrepresenting me. They've changed the title without asking me, without consulting me, and they're misrepresenting it. And you can, if you go on that link there, you can see it, opentodebate.org/debate/is-Islam-anti-Semitic. You can watch the video. The video is the debate as it was. You can also read the transcript. The transcript is accurate as well. It's obviously sort of auto-transcripted, so don't trust all the grammar. And you can see what happened. But the debate was not, is Islam misunderstood? The debate was, is Islam anti-Semitic? And I can't quite believe they've gone and changed it like that without any consultation and completely misrepresenting what it's about.
Okay, I just need to make sure I understand, okay?
Yeah.
So you had a debate with Reza Aslan. He's well-known author and apparently represent moderate Islam.
Yeah.
And topic was, is Islam anti-Semitic?
Correct.
It is published on YouTube, titled, Is Islam Anti-Semitic?
Yes.
And it was public now. Video is unlisted.
Yes.
And then same debate is on the website of Open to Debate. That's the who organized the debate.
Yeah.
And the title of the debate changed. Is Islam misunderstood? And then you made a case yes, and Muslim made a case no. So according to Muslim, Islam is not misunderstood. According to you as a Christian,
He didn't argue that, and I didn't argue that. So yeah, that's not. We didn't have that debate. That's not what we debated. So it's misrepresenting both of us, really. It's not what happened. I'm astonished that they've gone and changed it. I've emailed them, I've messaged them, I've DM'd them, I've complained about it. I'm just getting no response on it. No response. We'll see. I mean, maybe I'll get a response later on. Maybe they'll watch this video, Hassan. Maybe people on this video will complain about it. I don't know. But I can't quite believe they've gone and changed it like that without even notifying me or telling me. And if they had, I would have said, no, you can't do it, because that's not what the debate was. You can't, there they are calling themselves open debate, and they're I mean, what's happened here? Somebody must have complained. Somebody, the best scenario is one of their employees did it on the sly. But given that nobody's replying to me, I think they've deliberately done it. And some Muslims must have complained to them. You can't say Islam is anti-Semitic. You can't put a debate on there about that. And they changed it. I mean, and they unlisted it on YouTube. So you can't find it unless you have the link, So, yeah.
So while Muslim is arguing that Islam is not misunderstood, he's arguing that Islam is not misunderstood. So that's what he's making a point. What we are seeing, that is all Islam. And then you made a case that actually Islam is most misunderstood religion, according to the website I'm talking. And you just stated that, even though that wasn't the case for the debate, you just stated you can't believe that's what they've done.
Correct.
How long have you been in this world, Tim? Basic doesn't matter.
This is not even Britain. This is not even Britain, Hassan. This is in America.
Doesn't
the land
matter.
of free speech and
No.
everything,
No, doesn't matter. How they come across as, we are moderate Muslims. We are just trying to build the bridges. Very basic principles. If their lip is moving, you cannot trust them.
I would have thought, Hassan, they would have taken it down and hidden it, rather than change the topic. I mean, change the topic is more wrong, it seems to me. I don't know. I mean, I'm pleased it's not been taken down, but it's like, they leave it up there and change the title. It's kind of, even the link still says, the the URL still says is-Islam-anti-Semitic.
Well, that's unlisted, so people can get to see that only if they have the link. You are
No, but the URL of the page you showed, is in the URL opensdebate.org/debate/ is that
yeah. Yeah, I got that one. Oh yeah, sorry.
So but the text on the website has changed, not the link. So it's extraordinary. Honestly, it's extraordinary. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised, Hassan, but I am surprised. Maybe I haven't been doing this as long as you, Hassan.
Don't get naive with those people. That's how it is. So you are actively working with Christian concern to help Christians who are having troubles with police and with justice system, as well as with their bosses. When it comes to their Christian faith, you are actively out there engaging with in academic circle with Muslims who just spend their time with moving their lips and lying. Also, if I remember correctly, you've got some books as well. What did you write about?
Thank you. Well, I wrote with Beth Peltler a book called Questions to Ask Your Muslim Friends, which is just trying to encourage Christians to have conversations and engage with Muslims on questions of faith. And it starts with very simple questions like, how did you become a Muslim? Which hopefully they'll ask you back, how to become a Christian, or what difference does prayer make in your life? And hopefully you have some testimonies of answers to prayer. And it would then go into like comparing Jesus and Muhammad. Why would you follow Muhammad when you've got Jesus who rose from the dead, and Muhammad who mistreated women, and all these kind of things? And then into some more detailed questions about what the Quran teaches and things like that. So it's only it's quite a short book. It's only a couple hundred pages, and it literally is structured in questions, ideas of questions to ask your Muslim friends. So hopefully that's a useful resource. I'm writing a book at the moment called The Challenge of Islam, which is going to explain something of what I've just been talking about, how Islam is sort of encroaching on our culture, and also talk about, is Islam a religion of peace, which I wrote an article about that, which was, I think it's still in the top 5 Google searches if you search, is Islam a religion of peace? Many thousands of people have read that article. Also, my material on is Islam anti-Semitic will be in there. Also, stuff on Islamophobia. I wrote a report for the Free Speech Union on Islamophobia. Richard Dawkins wrote the foreword for that, which was surprising and encouraging. So they got Richard Dawkins to write the foreword just to sort of discount me being a Christian, so he's an atheist, but we agree that we should be able to criticize Islam. And so you can find that on the Free Speech Union website. Just search Free Speech Union Islamophobia or something. You'll get it. Yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that I've been doing on Islam recently, yes.
And is your book available in Amazon?
Questions to Ask Your Muslim Friends is available on Amazon. The other one won't be out till probably next year now.
Okay, so those are good resources for people to just grab that and use it, because not every Muslim in England or wherever you are, like Muslims at Speaker's Corner, you go to mosques, you've got Muslims who don't know very basics. Recently, I spoke to an imam. He didn't even know, an imam didn't even know, according to the Quran, Jesus was sinless. It wasn't like he was pretending. He really didn't know. So there are lots of...
Wow, so you sort of showed him that verse in the Quran, did you? And he was like, he didn't know that,
yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, but this is the thing. A lot of Muslims don't know what the Quran says in their own language.
Yeah, so such books like yours are out there for people to just grab it and then start having conversations. At the end, yes.
And if you go to chrisconcern.com, you go to the issues tab, you see there's 12 issues there. Down the bottom, Islam is one of the issues. You click on Islam there, you'll see lots of resources there on Islam as well. It's chrisconcern.com/cc issues/Islam if you want to.
I'll put the link in the description. Such a resources helps us to use it to preach the gospel, because at the end, yes, Islam is dangerous. Yes, police is becoming dhimmi for Muslims. Even our politicians are dhimmi for Islam and for Muslims. At the end, only solution, one and only solution, and that's Lord Jesus Christ. He transforms the world upside down. He transforms individual like me and like you from something else to brand new people, and he will do that. He does that with Muslims as well. So just get on those resources and then use those resources. to just before I let you go, Tim, what are the things we should be aware of as the things are happening, like such as police phone calls that saying God bless to Muslim can be crime, or anyone can be stopped on the street and then being put in prison, put in jail, or being questioned or stopped from their freedom of speech as they preach the gospel, or even atheists simply critiquing Islam? What are the basic steps we've got to do? How we can handle it before we get in touch with Christian concern or with lawyer? What are your last suggestions to us?
I think, don't be afraid, be courageous, preach the gospel, preach the truth. Jesus is Lord, whether people agree with it or not, and wherever you are. And everyone needs salvation, and they need to hear the message. Preach it with courage. Do have a recording device if you can, if you're on the streets or something like that. And just be aware of your rights, and do get a hold of Christian Concern if you run into trouble for what you've said.
Okay, and your basic right is you have right to mock everyone.
Yes, you do. Yeah, I can't promise you won't be arrested, but you do have the right to mock Islam. And you've done it. You've proven it, Hassan. You have mocked Islam. You've been arrested, but then you've not been charged. And then the police have paid your compensation. That shows that the law is on your side on this.
And,
even if the police aren't.
And you have right to preach the glorious gospel of Lord Jesus Christ. Doesn't matter what people are saying, doesn't matter how people's feelings are being hurt. You do have that right. Yes, people fail to uphold your rights, but those rights are given to you under the law. So just continue to do it however you are doing it. Don't let Muslims just get away with those lies. Tim, really appreciate that you made yourself available and join me in this live stream to kind of talk about what has been happening with two-tier policing in Britain against Christians, as well as all that messed up things against Christ and Christ people. Actually, very sad. I'm sad that we are discussing these things because, as you expressed as well, we live in Great Britain. It's just messed up. But it is happening. So it is happening. We are living in biblical times where people hate Christ and people hate followers of Christ. Now we are again confirmed. People even hate his word. That's just very much messed up. So
thank you, Hassan. It's been great to chat with you. Great to be online with you. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. An inspiration, courageous. Love working with you. It's great.
Thank you very much, and God bless you. As well as thank you very much, everyone who joined us in chat. By God's grace, we will see you in another live stream or different platform. Until we see you, may Christ crucified silently with his love.